All right, everyone, more of the black-pilled further out there Trump fans. They're demoralized and they're worried that Biden's going to win, which I'm telling you, I still don't believe that it's likely. You've got to understand, we've got 4 months and 3 debates to go at the moment, and I can't really see those going well for Joe Biden. If the economy recovers at all, it all adds to Trump getting reelected. The fact that the disease, coronavirus is now an afterthought in many cases, and the people are getting pissed off by mask restrictions and restrictions on freedom of movement and so forth as well, all coming from far left governments at state and local level, by the way. Florida, meanwhile, open for business, magically has not disappeared into a haze of plague. And the debates, I mean, come on, Joe Biden's literally demented, so I think that should be a cakewalk for Trump. If Trump manages to screw the pooch at one or more of the debates, it would surprise me, and actually that would do a huge amount of damage to him. But keep this in mind. In the 1 in 10 chance, because I give Trump a 90% chance of re-election, let's say the other 10% does happen. Biden is elected. We then have effectively a lame duck steward president who will not accomplish anything, most likely. The Republicans will probably hold the Senate, and they'll stonewall everything. His vice president will be the acting president from day one. That will probably be someone like Kamala Harris or Susan Rice, someone who's massively corrupt, further left than Biden. You do have to understand that. They will be a leftist. They will support Antifa. They will support domestic terrorism. Will the nation survive? Yeah. We've been through all sorts of crazy shit before as a nation. Wars, pandemics, extremely corrupt presidents, extremely corrupt incarnations of Congress, far-left Supreme Court built by FDR that lasted for an entire generation. Magically, we're still here. Most of our rights are still intact, although they have been transmogrified and eroded over time and continue to do so to this day. We will be fine. Biden would end up being a one-termer probably anyway. Look, it wouldn't look good for the Democrats. They foist Biden, who even most Democrats don't really like, into the presidency. Everyone will know by the end of his first term, if he even makes it that long without having to drop the job due to dementia, they're going to realize that he's looking a lot like late second-term Ronald Reagan. Late second-term Ronald Reagan, for the last 2 years of his presidency, was not the same person that ran to begin with. He was completely changed. He was far less popular when he left. People look back, oh, the Gipper, he was a great American president. No, he wasn't. He was an average American president at best. He's remembered as great because of the screwballs that came before and after him. Because Herbert Walker was a failure, miserable failure. Jimmy Carter was a miserable failure. Ronald Reagan just happened to be in the right place at the right time and look the role. He looked like the 1980s, and people wanted to go to the mall and buy cheap shit to forget about their woes. That's basically the reason that you remember Reagan. And oh, the wall came down, haha, Ronald Reagan won because of the Star Wars program ramming the Soviet economy into the ground. Well, yeah, kind of. Not that any other sane individual wouldn't have implemented the same fucking policies. The Soviet Union already had a million problems, partially ethnic in nature. Now, if Biden wins, it's not going to destroy the United States. I'll tell you what I think would happen. We have an absentee president, which means that a cabal of unelected officials largely is running the country. Well, they'll definitely do corrupt, screwy things. Don't get me wrong. There will be a lot of corruption. They will attempt to go after various rights. They'll definitely support more online censorship, which might make it less popular. When government explicitly gets involved with supporting that sort of thing, even elements of the left, I think, get a little bit uncomfortable. And we've seen it before, like Obama era and stuff. And that's number one. You can look for them to try to tear apart Trump's legacy. You can look for Biden, though, probably to try to do the moral high ground thing and basically say, well, the era of Trump is over. We've got to get back to work and stuff, but we do have to remember he was duly elected and blah, blah, blah. And he'll do the solemn U.S. President daddy thing, basically, because that's the sort of person he is. He will be a failure as a president. He will be a one-termer. He probably won't even seek re-election. He'll be too fucking old. He'll probably have to come. They'll make him come out on TV if he makes it through the term, and he'll say, no, I'm not going to seek re-election. Look, I'm in my fucking 80s. What do you expect me to do? They'll go after guns. They'll be unsuccessful. They'll get torn apart by SCOTUS like they have them. Actually, when the left pushes the issue of guns, gun control becomes less popular. Gun control rises in popularity when there's a Republican in the White House. Donald Trump has made gun control more popular. Look at exactly what happened when the left got uppity and decided to take to the streets and start waving signs around. 2.5 million people buy guns. All of a sudden, sales skyrocket. Support for gun control drops like a rock. Happens every time the left opens its fucking mouth on the issue. I'm not even remotely worried about that. There's enough state-level attempts to go after guns. It's not the national level you need to be worried about. It's the states. It's at the federal court level. That's where the damage actually ends up happening. Most of the meaningful gun control in the U.S. is almost entirely led by states. Most people don't even realize how lax the federal rules actually are in many cases. That's the real problem. That's where the NRA should be focusing, and of course won't, because they're a bunch of sellouts. Now, if Biden wins the election, the biggest thing I think that would happen, as far as negativity, is economic in nature. I think that the U.S. economy will stay in recession for 4 years. We're in a recession right now. If we re-elect Trump, I believe we will recover out of it. I think that by the time he leaves his second term, our economy will look like it did in the mid-'80s or something. It will be fairly robust. Part of that is due to just consumer confidence. Part of it is just due to business confidence. Part of it is literally just Trump's big Don persona. Biden, meanwhile, is a shrimpy old dude. He was clearly demented. And I think if it looks like he's going to win, I think you can expect the stock market to crash. Again, the biggest problem will be economic, but we just got through the Great Recession. We managed our way through it. Did it suck? Yeah. But we survived as a nation. We survived 8 years of shitty leadership under Obama, on top of 8 years of failed leadership of George W. The economy starts to falter. Literally, 4 entire presidential terms of stupidity. We managed to get through it. And by and large, Trump, all you need is a good president for a few years. Trump in 2 years managed to ameliorate most of the damage that had been done during that period. The other biggest problem is that, of course, wall construction on day one will cease, which means that, again, you'll have to wait till Biden is gone, and or, because he's a steward candidate and he probably ends up resigning due to dementia or dying in office potentially, then his VP takes over, so it's President Kamala or Susan Rice or whatever. They'll immediately abandon any immigration reform. They'll undo most of what Trump has done by executive order. But I'd like to point something out. This is another thing that most people don't recognize. Because presidents have been, over time, and I don't agree with this largely, it can be pragmatic, but it's not constitutionally useful. Presidential power, in the sense of executive orders standing up to judicial scrutiny, has increased over time. Because of that fact, presidents have huge latitude in ripping apart large swaths of what their predecessor did, specifically because they did it through executive action. In fact, the Supreme Court lately has taken the grandiose step of slapping Trump down and preventing him, essentially, from utilizing his executive authority to undo prior executive authority for DACA recipients. Which, by the way, is blatantly outside of the mandate of SCOTUS defined that way. In a 5-4 dumb decision, no less. That's one thing on which the Supreme Court is objectively wrong. Trump has the absolute, total objective authority to undo an executive order with an executive order. There have really not been examples of that not being upheld before, and they're saying, well, he just needs to do it differently. Well, it takes time to do things, dude. Essentially, document deferred action, not we're never going to take action. No, deferred action means they want a Democrat president to grant blanket amnesty when they have a legislative capability to do so. That's basically what they want. It's interesting. It's a slap in the face to everyone who's legally immigrated or immigrating to the United States when they propose these things. Oh yeah, they violated the law and jumped the line, and but that's okay. We're sorry that it took you 3 years and tens of thousands of dollars, but he can come in for free immediately. It's okay. Oh yeah, he's a criminal too. That's all right as well, as long as he's not like a murderer or something. That's what Biden will do as far as immigration. But the nation will survive. People who are so black-pilled, my God, again, everyone who's part of the out party, if they have strong political convictions at all, always thinks the world is going to end because the other party won. Bush fans thought the world had ended in 2008 when the first black president, and he's a Democrat and a socialist, oh my God, we're all going to die. No, we didn't. Bush takes over in the wake of the nifty 90s, and almost on day one, problems begin to arise. Bush was a moron. He mismanaged every aspect of the country completely. Did we survive? Yeah, with flying colors, we did fine. Great Recession aside, of course, which was partially caused by leftist policies, not entirely by Bush, but he helped to set up the bowling pins. The Democrats just threw the ball. We'll be fine. And I don't think that it's likely to happen. Again, I give a 90% chance of Trump being reelected on the basis of Biden's dementia playing a role in the debates, an outsized role, and based on the fact that due to his age and due to his obvious cognitive decline, people will effectively have to choose whether to vote for his VP. And the fact is, he was able to win the primaries. The person he'll choose as VP didn't. They're unelected. They're an appointed official. They're someone who runs at the whim of the would-be president of the United States as running mate. An unelected first female president, especially a first female president of color, for all that stuff is worth, and to the left it really is, that's just not going to sit well with some people. I don't think that they want that. I would prefer that someone, if they're going to be the first female president, they get it on their own merits. I guess they decided Hillary couldn't hoof it, and none of these people are as strong as Hillary, so I guess they're worried they'll have to wait 20, 30 years, and the Republicans might be the first ones. They're worried about the first female president being a Republican, and trust me, they should be. Because it would really, that wouldn't help their party paradigm, or I think they would demoralize them a little bit. So stop worrying so much. Just fucking pull the lever for Trump. Do what you can to try to get the dude elected, and don't worry too much, because again, we got 4 months to go and 3 debates. If you think that Joe Biden is likely to prevail at the debates, then I don't know what Joe Biden you've been watching every time he speaks. That's about all. Peace out.